Good to be here again. It's nice to come in again after a great win, a complete, really team win out of our football team. Really proud of the way they went out and competed, came back, as I said after the game on Saturday, how they came back after a big win, were able to be mature enough, tough enough to back that up with another, dominating win, really. Physical win out of our guys. They played tough, played physical against a good football team and a physical football team in Duke. I mean, I think Duke and Coach Cutcliffe have built a program very similar to what we're trying to build here as far as with toughness and, but our kids came out and played really well. Last game of the season, last game for a bunch of seniors that sit in the front rows in here. Had them stand up last night at the team meeting, really, and it'll be an emotional week for them. I think just last opportunity to play in Heinz Field, last regular season game. It'll be emotional, I think, for our staff, for our kids, for even the younger guys, knowing how much they've helped mentor them through this season, the way they play. I think it's a big week, and I think it'll get more emotional as the week goes on. But we play a good Syracuse football team that has showed spurts of being great. They beat a Virginia Tech team at home during the year. That's probably their best win of the year. They've got a lot of athletes running around on the field, on both sides of the ball. And Dino Babers is just getting started with what they do. Fast tempo offense, really fast, the fastest one we'll face this year, without a doubt. So, defensively we'll have to be prepared for that. They got 4 legit receivers that can play anywhere in the country. I think they're the 13th best passing offense in the country. So we know that's awful important for us to be able to stop that. And defensively, they're very active. They run around, play a lot of, 4-man front, really a 4-2, 4-3 scheme. Blitz you about 30% of the time. They're going to come get you. And like every week, they have their challenges for what we do. And we'll probably see a different scheme. The safeties might be down at 3 yards. So we'll just kind of have to adjust on the run, see what they have planned to stop our offense. Questions?
You said that last week with Duke, they didn't have the receivers like you guys have been facing with like Washington. I mean, so Syracuse, they have, those are guys that.
Those guys are all legit guys now. I think, the one kid that transferred from Maryland 2 years ago, Coach Powell coached when he was there. At one point, he was leading the country in pass receiving, I think. So we haven't faced him yet. I think 1, 3, 7, and 8. I mean, you see those guys a lot out there making a lot of plays. They like to throw it around. And, Dungy was the quarterback. He's been out for 2 weeks. We expect to see him. I don't know what's going to happen with that. But, we'll just kind of go with what they do there. And, they've had a backup come in the last two games and has played very good as well. So, I mean, it's their offense, it's their system and what they do and how they do it.
Your secondary made a lot of plays on Saturday. Do you think that was big for their confidence?
I don't, you guys talk a lot about confidence and, I've got a sheet in my office that someone gave me a couple weeks ago that had the top 10 quarterbacks that are draft eligible this year and the top receivers. I mean, we've played 4 of the top 10 draft eligible quarterbacks. I think we've played 5 of the top 10, draft eligible wideouts. And it's kind of like, wow, I wonder who else played all these guys. But I think our guys had confidence. I don't think they've ever lacked confidence. I think they understand that, they have a hard job out there, at the corner position. But I think anytime you do make a play, it helps you, whether you're an offensive tackle blocking a great defensive end, or if you're a tailback running over a good free safety, or defensive end, pass rushing by an offensive tackle. I think either way, I think any win, I think anytime you make a play, it's good for your confidence. I don't think they ever lacked it, to be honest with you.
You talk a lot about technique and doing things the right way, though. I mean, did you see improvements in that area?
Every week you see improvements. The great thing is we haven't had any coverage busts. I mean, one of the biggest coverage busts, I keep going back to that first play of Oklahoma State. Those were, we haven't had any of those for weeks, but we've been in position to make plays, and I think when you talk about fundamentals and being in good position, we've been there. could we? I mean, we can always play. Even when even when you play with good technique, you can get better. So that's what we do as coaches, is continue to harp on the fundamentals and technique. But we've gotten a little bit better out there. Still got a ways to go.
You have a lot of fourth-year juniors, fifth-year seniors on the team this year, more than Pitt has had in several years. Is that one of your philosophies, to try to get these kids in the system for a while, and by the time they're juniors and seniors, that they're ready to go?
Well, I think everybody in the country would like to have an old football team. I mean, a year ago, I think we sat in here and talked about how young a football team we had. Now you're saying we have an old team. I mean, I think every coach in the country would like to have a team based on juniors and seniors. It's not always that way, but is it a philosophy? I think that's everybody's philosophy. It's a need, it's a want, but it's not always something you have. But it's nice to have. We got a great group of seniors here, and really a great group of juniors.
Something you can set up, though, it helps out with the freshman class. We're going to play 5 this year, I believe. So those kids are going to finish, in theory, with the fifth.
Yeah, fourth-year seniors if they're playing as freshmen. You're saying?
Well, I mean, the other ones.
The other ones, yeah, right. They certainly could be, yeah.
You've had a ton of success, obviously, with the offensive line this year, not only running the football, but protecting the quarterback. How important has it been that they've been able to play just about every snap together this year, that chemistry, that continuity?
It's always important, and again, another great thing about the win Saturday was we were able to get some other guys in the game. I think it's always good to get those guys in the game. I think it's great for the team to watch those guys play. I think our ones got so excited to go see the twos out there playing, to watch them go do, and I'm sure it's in the locker room like, man, I don't get to play. I mean, and to get to go play in an ACC game was really good. But to have our offensive line play the entire year, it's obviously important. We haven't been that lucky in the secondary or on the defensive line with guys banged up, but we've been, your depth charts that you guys get weekly that EJ, always fudges around with. He says, hey, let's put a few more oars in here. And I say, okay, EJ, whatever you want to do. But we've been lucky enough on offense not to have to put a lot of oars in there. We've had consistency there, and it certainly helps you, without a doubt. The communication by those guys up front is critical. And, Coach Peterson, Coach Cannon have done a good job of keeping that together all year.
Defensively, Pat, you guys held Duke to a single touchdown, held them under 300 yards in the mark, but it's best defensive performance of the season. What do you think went right for you guys in that game that kind of allowed you to have success?
Well, it starts with defending the run. I think from our records, they get maybe 34 yards rushing. Again, we don't count pass quarterback scrambles, or sacks for that matter. But they weren't able to run the ball. That's always going to help you a bunch. And guys are making plays, and we're playing with some backup D tackles in there. We got a lot of use out of our D line as far as different guys. I mean, Rory Blair played a lot. Alan Edwards played a ton. Mike Herndon played a lot. Shane Roy had some reps inside. I think the freshness we had, and again, I think just really the attitude our kids took into the game.
Speaking of the backup D tackles, it seems like Jeremiah Taleni there hasn't been much of a drop off since Tyreek Garrett went out against Miami. You guys have been able to win both games without him. So how do you think he's been able to fill it so successfully there without missing a beat?
Jeremiah, is a good football player. We all, knew that, from the beginning. I think he plays with great leverage. He's taken coaching, which I think is critical, and he's taken advantage of the opportunities he's been given. When you're always waiting for somebody to get hurt. I mean, that's what guys do. They wait to be that next guy in, and he's taken full advantage of it. And I'm happy for him. He's a super kid, and he's got the ability to be a very good defensive tackle in the ACC.
When did you first notice from that you kind of made you think, okay, this guy can contribute, this guy can be a valuable piece of my game?
I mean, we thought it back in spring ball, but it's all about consistency too. And he went through some growing pains, I think. Being away from home and all those things. I mean, just it's not easy. I mean, we think it's easy, going to school and studying and doing all the things you have to do. Being in a different culture, and he's a great kid, and he's just sometimes it takes a little longer for guys than others.
Also, point that out. Terry, she actually playing the whole game at safety and ended up having your best performance against the pass. What can you say about their ability as seniors to step in and make sure?
Yeah, I mean, Reggie Mitchell, we know has been, he's a starter. I mean, so we just didn't have the depth that we'd like. And, you know, it was great to see Jay Stocker get in there. It was a guy that we've watched in practice get better. We've seen him in special teams make plays. And, you know, if there's a most improved player, I might say it's Jay Stocker as we go through there. That's the guy that really, he's the one that filled in for Jordan Whitehead, in my opinion. It wasn't Reggie. Reggie's been there. It's just he took more reps and played really good for us. But Jay Stocker is kind of the guy that has gotten better, and that's what you want to see out of your teammate. Is, you know, that guy step up and be the guy that could sub in and really do a nice job when he's in there. So I think you know, we found another guy that you're not afraid to put in the game. Sometimes you're afraid to put him in the game. If things aren't going good, you go, ooh, I don't know if we can put Jay out there. But we've watched in practice, but we didn't know in the game what was going to happen. You know, sometimes you play great in practice and all of a sudden you get in the game and things don't go well. But Jay Stocker's been that guy. It's not been, you know, Reggie's been good all along. I mean, we've been impressed with him, you know, since really I stepped on campus.
With the depth you've developed over the last year on defense, do you think you're better equipped to face a tempo team like Syracuse this year than maybe you were a year ago?
I think we were, you know, equipped a year ago as well. I don't know if we're any different as far as being able to, you know, we've got to rotate guys in for sure, unless you go 3 and out. If you go 3 and out, then you don't have to. But you know, it's hard to slow down that passing offense. They're going to just dink in, throw the short routes all day, line up and empty and go. They got a lot of trick plays. Shoot, they've had I think maybe 6 other skill guys besides quarterback throw passes. So so we'll prepare for all those. And they got a lot of guys throwing passes. So they've got all kinds of tricks that we'll prepare for.
Stalker and Brightwell, the 2 redshirt freshmen who really played well this year. How important was their sitting out last year to contribute to playing well this year?
I think it's, you know, you wish they didn't sit out, but you know, it's a growing thing for those guys, and you know, we'll have more of those. I mean, there's a lot of young guys sitting in the back in this meeting room that are going to play a lot of football for us next year. There's going to be those other, you know, Salim Brightwells and Stockers, and you know, even Alan Edwards sat out a year ago and didn't play. So there's more to come, you know, we hope, and it's development, and everybody's a little bit different. Just because they don't come in and play as a freshman doesn't mean they're going to, you know, not be good players here. And again, it all depends on depth, but it's important to develop, and it's nice to be able to sit those guys down and let them redshirt. You know, we would have liked to have done that with DeMar Hamlin. You know, Theron Coleman. I mean, in another year, that's going to be a big athletic corner that I think will turn some heads. So there's a lot of them sitting back there that, for the future, that, you know, I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of development we have through the winter and through the spring.
How to keep those kids interested and satisfied when they're not playing?
Sometimes, I mean, they all want to play. They're all, you know, shoot, Aaron Matthews, he saw, you know, French playing corner. Now he wants to play safety, you know. The guy, I mean, during the game, he just wants me to put him in at safety. I'm like, Aaron, what are you talking about? You know, you never wanted to play defense. Now you want to play defense. But he wanted to get in there and get some action too. So, you know, there's a lot of guys that want to play and they don't care. Coach, I'll play anything, he says on the sideline. I'm like, you know, settle down, Aaron. But maybe we'll have to get him, maybe I'll rush the quarterback. Maybe we'll blitz him off the edge. He's a pretty good blitzer too in high school.
Yeah, when Nate was there last week, he was talking about, yes, being, you know, Clemson was great, but we want to finish strong. We didn't finish strong last year. Obviously, you played pretty well on Saturday. I mean, has that been the message? I mean, the last couple of weeks in terms of, and do you sense a more mature group, I guess, in your second year?
It's interesting. You know, I don't read what is said out there and what our players say. I really don't. You know, I'm around them every day. You know, they probably don't want to read what I say, and hopefully they don't want to read it. And I don't really want to read, or, you know, I just don't read it. So I didn't know that he made that comment. But that's really, and they can tell you that, Biz can tell you, Reggie, that's really not what we've preached as far as finishing strong, because we didn't last year. But that goes to tell you what kind of leadership we have. Okay, when your players are saying that, and I don't have to say that, then you talk about maturity, leadership. That's, you know, that's what they're saying. That's what they're saying to you. So maybe that's what they're talking about in the locker room instead of talking about girls or where they're going tonight. And I think that's a great thing.
You have a chance.
You know,
Go ahead.
you know from experience that when a coordinator has a lot of success, the phone's probably going to ring in the offseason. Opportunities might present themselves. When you hired Matt, did you do so with the expectation that you felt like he would probably be around for a little while, to be some longevity, some continuity for a few years?
You know, as a young head coach, you know, you surely hope. You know, I had the same expectations when we hired Chaney, and sometimes you get snowed, whatever. But you know, I've known Matt for a long time. We got a great relationship. I think he's having fun. You know, I know, you know, the business we're in. People look and see where you are, what you're doing, and and like it, that people are going to come get your guys. When you got a great staff, people are going to try to go get them and poach them. And but we're going to do what we can do to make sure Matt stays here for a while.
Do you feel confident that for any of your systems, if you want to keep them, you can at least be competitive?
Yeah, I really do. With the Chancellor and with Scott Barnes, there's no question about it. I feel really good about that. Especially if you're having fun where you are too. I think that's part of it. If you're miserable, if you're miserable working your job, then I don't think all the money or contract incentives can keep you. But I think if you're happy, then maybe it does. I think that's part of it. It's not all about the money. If it's about the money, I'd have been gone from Michigan State a long time ago. But if it's about the money, then maybe you got the wrong guy. You're next.
You have a chance to win 8 this year. And I know you don't want to talk about the postseason, but is it going to be a better 8 if you do win than it was last year? Last year was 8.
Yeah, I would say it would be. I mean, I think when you look at our losses, they were like this, and those inches that we didn't get. I look back and look at how close we were to winning them all, and God, if we'd have done this as coaches, that maybe we would have won every one of those games. You certainly, I would without a doubt say it's a much better year.
Anything final for Coach before we get to our player reps?
You had Senior Day on Saturday. Is there any chance you introduce James with the rest of the seniors?
Have not talked about that, and right now don't anticipate that. No conversation of that. Never done that before.